Prenuptial agreement. Uzma's parents were married in 1973 in Pakistan, but the wedding almost never took place. During the Islamic wedding ceremony, there is a section about the groom promising to financially provide for his bride in case of divorce. This is similar to a prenuptial agreement that happens sometimes in a modern-day marriage. Unfortunately, some of Uzma's mother's maternal uncles had ulterior motives and did not want the wedding to take place, so they caused an argument on agreeing the haq mahar, about the groom promising to financially provide for his bride. The groom's family were so angry they decided to leave without the wedding ceremony taking place, and this would have been a great disgrace for the bride's family and could have meant that the bride could remain single forever, as everyone would remember what had happened. The eldest uncle was not part of the other brothers' plans and intervened. His apology meant that the wedding could take place without asking for any haq mahar. Fortunately, Uzma's mother and father have been together for 35 years and have never been to bring up the question of haq mahar again, but they often reminisce at how they almost never got married.
Naima's parents are both from African country of Malawi. Her grandparents still live there and she goes there each summer to visit them. By talking to her parents, Naima found out about some of the things her mum got up to in Africa when she was a child. Naima's mum told her that in her African village was a lake which had a crocodile farm. One day her parents took her to the farm at feeding time. After some entertainment, a live chicken was thrown in the lake for the crocodiles to eat. But the chicken did not want to be eaten, so kept running or swimming very fast in the lake. The chicken then managed to get out of the lake, but the crocodile keeper caught it and threw it back in the lake. Fortunately for the chicken, this time 3 crocodiles caught the chicken and ate him up.
Tanya remembers a story that her mother told her about the time she came to live in England in 1993. Uzma's husband Imran was born in England and his favourite food has always been jacket potatoes. Uzma decided that she would cook some potatoes for Imran's lunch and then put them in the microwave oven. But she did not realise that the microwave worked a lot quicker than the regular oven, so she set the microwave timer for an hour. Uzma carried on with her chores. Suddenly she heard a huge explosive bang. Uzma ran towards the kitchen as where the sound had come from. When she entered the kitchen, the microwave was on fire. Quickly, Uzma covered the microwave oven with a towel and extinguished the fire. Uzma realised that the potatoes had exploded and caught fire because she had left them in the microwave oven for so long. Sanya went on to say that her mother was frightened to use the microwave for a long time afterwards.
Illegal money. Farah's grandfather related an anecdotal story about sending a £5 note to Pakistan pasted behind a photograph. Sending legal tender abroad was a criminal offence in 1960, but Farah's grandfather was willing to break the law by sending this money gift to his daughter. Farah's grandfather was very lucky that the postal service in Pakistan did not realise that there was money in the letter, as if they had found it, either they could have informed the authorities in England or a corrupt postal worker could have stolen the money.
From her maternal side of the family, Nadra's mother Amina told Nadra that her grandfather married what they believed was an African woman. This African woman, who was named Amina Juda, was aged 18 when she married, and over the years gave birth to 4 sons and 2 daughters. Her husband then took her and the children back to India. After a short time, he then returned to Malawi in Africa and took himself another wife, but this time he definitely married an African woman. This African woman had 2 daughters and 1 son. The first wife, Amina, then returned to Malawi to join her husband and his second wife. Amina then looked after all the children, even those who were not her own.
Choices. Aisha and Mariam had always known that their granddad had been to university, but through this project they saw some of his certificates, found out why he made the choices he did and why he never completed his studies. Saeed was born in 1931 and went to school in Jhelum, Punjab, of what was then India. He still has his certificate dated the 1st of November 1946 to state that he passed his matriculation exams. This was the equivalent of modern-day GCSE tests. The next certificate was that of his FA exams, the equivalent to A-levels. Said had also kept his letter of acceptance into Peshawar University to study English, zoology and chemistry. When Maryam and Aisha asked why he had chosen zoology, they expected him to explain about his love of animals, and that being the reason behind him choosing that subject. They were both surprised when he said that it was simply because physics was too hard. They had found this rather amusing because both of them had struggled with physics at school, resulting in Maryam dropping the subject this year in her A-level choices. Said had never completed his degree due to financial problems faced by his family. He does, however, regret this, and even though he is now almost 80 years old, he wishes that he had continued with his studies.
A foreign national. Tabrida's mother was born in Kuwait. At the time of her birth, the government of Kuwait did not give immigrants or their children nationality, so Bushra's birth was registered in Pakistan. In Kuwait, Bushra went to a mixed nationality school until the age of 11 and studied all subjects in Arabic. 11 and over children of Pakistani immigrants went to schools with only Pakistani children. These schools were known as English medium schools, and lessons were conducted in English. The benefit of this type of school was that one lesson a week of Urdu was taught. Bushra's family spoke Punjabi at home and she never studied Urdu. She vividly remembers the punishment the teacher gave if she gave an incorrect answer. The teacher would place a pencil between two of Bushra's fingers and would twist them. Bushra can still feel the pain inflicted by the teacher and is glad that no teacher in England is allowed to hurt their pupils. The fact that Bushra had spent so many years learning Arabic in school meant that Bushra recited all of the Quran by the age of 6.5. Her mother was so delighted in Bushra's achievement that she gave out bolushai to all her friends. These mitai sweets were Bushra's favourite sweets. Bushra's father owned a photographic studio in Kuwait, and this is the reason why Bushra is fortunate enough to have so many photographs of herself as a child. Some of her favourite photographs are of when she was taken to Karbala in Iraq on a holy pilgrimage, and the pictures taken on the beach in Kuwait where the family took a picnic every weekend.
Laiba's grandfather Said came to England in 1960 when he was a very young man. He lived in Leicester with his eldest sister, who had been living there for a few years. He got a job as truck driver, but always dreamed of owning his business. After earning enough money, he sent a ticket to his younger brother to join him in Leicester. Together they achieved open a halal meat shop, and he felt like he had achieved his dream. In 1968, he decided it was time to go back to Pakistan and bring home a wife. He met Shahida and they got married. Saeed brought his wife back to Leicester and very soon had two lovely children. Saeed's wife's sister lived in Liverpool, and so the family decided to join her there. Life in Liverpool was not what they expected, so Saeed moved his family once more. This time they came to live in Manchester and had 3 more children. They moved house several times, but now their children have bought houses on the same street so that they can see them every day.
To be daddy's little girl, and some of us have ways we can exploit that. Amina's mum, Parveen, did not like to do the housework. One day her sister wanted her to make chapatis for the family, and it was a big family compared to today's family. After a hard day working in the field, Parveen's father liked to sit on a bed in the middle of his yard and watch his family preparing the meals. Parveen decided that she would pretend that she saw a snake and get out of helping to prepare the meal. Snake, snake, she shouted. Everyone ran towards her and shouted, where? I think it's gone. It was very fast. I'm so frightened, lied Parveen. Her father told her to come and sit beside him while her elder sister made chapatis. Parveen smiled sweetly and sat beside her father while the women folk prepared dinner.
Story. Hafsa's mum grew up in Pakistan, and on one occasion, whilst her mum was playing on some swings, she slipped forward and hit her mouth on the ground. Her chins were open and she had to go to hospital to have some stitches. Hafsa said her mum loves to tell this story every time they go to the park and sit on the swings. Every time Gash's grandmother sees a snake, whether in a zoo or on the television, his grandmother always tells him about her uncle in India who was bitten by a snake in the jungle. And when Farah's mum drives down a certain road, she always says, I used to walk down this road 4 times a day when I was at school. Once in the morning, then home for dinner time, back from dinner, and then back from school at the end of the day.
Best friends forever. Masouda came to England in 1963 and found herself in a country where she did not speak the language and had no family to support her husband. Her husband Saeed had a friend whose wife had recently come over to England, so Saeed decided that it would be a good idea if the two wives met and be able to chat together in their own language. The women met and became friends while reminiscing about their lives back home and their new lives in this country that was so different to everything they had experienced previously. Together, Masouda and her friend Zubeda became more confident in their daily routines and would often go out for walks, take their washing to the laundrette, or just go shopping in city centre Manchester. On one of their walks home from the laundrette, they noticed a woman washing the front doorstep. This was something they saw all the time, but today they were sure that the woman cleaning looked like a Pakistani. As Pakistani women were so rare in Manchester at the time, Masouda and Zubeda did not want to miss this opportunity to meet someone new. So they went up to the woman and asked her where she was from. The woman looked up and was instantly delighted that she had finally seen some other Pakistani women. She invited them into her house and introduced herself as Shada. Shada became like a sister to Masouda, and together they shared the greatest moments in their lives. Finally, Masouda felt that she had her own family here in England. The friendship had lasted.
Fahima's mother told her the story about how her grandfather settled in South Africa. Fahima's great-great-grandfather fled India in the 1940s with his young son, Ahmed, to try and make a new and better life for both of them in South Africa. They travelled by ship from a port in India and arrived in Durban in South Africa 40 days later. However, on their arrival in Durban, Fahima's great-great-grandfather was not granted entry into South Africa and was faced with the dilemma of having to return to India. He made the painful decision to leave his 11-year-old son in South Africa with a family that had settled down in South Africa previously. Fahima's great-grandfather Ahmed stayed in South Africa until the age of 17 and then decided it was time to return to India to get married. He found a wife and they lived in India for 9 years and had 2 children. Hoping for a better life, the couple decided to return to South Africa, and so Fahima's great-grandfather Ahmed once again made the 40-day trip by ship, but this time with his wife and 2 children. This time Ahmed started his own business and had 4 more children. He continued working until the age of 70, and he now lives in Old Trafford. Fahima's great-great-grandfather, who had returned to India after leaving his son in South Africa, became very well known in India and was close friends with Mahatma Gandhi and Nehru. There was always so much excitement when Gandhi and Nehru came to visit him in his home village of Kacholi.
Pen pal. Farah's grandfather also related to some of the things he got up to as a student in Pakistan. Said Aziz studied at Peshawar University for his BSc. During this period, like so many other people around the world, he started writing to a pen pal in 1940 who lived in Delhi. After partition in August 1946, Farah's grandparents' family remained in which is now Pakistan, and the pen pal was now in another country, India, which was going to be called Bharat. Many people, including Muslims, Christians, Hindus and Sikhs, were massacred during this mass migration as two new countries merged.
Rain play. On a visit to Pakistan as a child, Halima vividly remembers the excitement everyone felt when it rained. All the children ran outside and played in the rain. No one plays in the rain in England. If during school playtime it is raining, children stay inside. But in Pakistan, rain is thought as a blessing, and you can see many children outside laughing and playing in the rain. Some people don't go to work because of the rain, while women cook special foods to celebrate the monsoon.
Married at 15. It's hard to imagine being married at 15, but that's exactly what happened in the case of Bushra Shah. Bushra is of Pakistani origin, spent her childhood in Kuwait and her married life in Manchester. As a child bride, Bushra came to live with her husband, who was studying for his A-levels, and her very large family of in-laws. This family was very quiet compared to her own family, who were very loud. Although Bushra was taught English in school, it was hard for her to speak fluently in English as her family had spoken Urdu at home. However, all her new family spoke English, so in the early years, Bushra struggled with conversations and had to reply in Urdu. For this reason, occasionally, she felt excluded and isolated. It was hard for her to make friends as she had nowhere to meet any. This situation later changed when she had children and started to meet other mothers at nursery and was able to make friends and speak English. Bushra experienced a huge culture and social change that included not only having to speak English, but also having to wear Western clothes. For the registry office wedding, Bushra wore a white wedding dress, which was a stark contrast to the Asian wedding outfit. As to the future, Bushra insists that no girl should be married at 15. It is very difficult to adjust to married life before you've grown up yourself. Bushra has 2 daughters who will only be married after they've studied at university.